Hello, and thank you for tuning in with us today on Transcending Ascension. Today, we're going to dive in with one of my favorite subjects thus far on actually knowing thyself. Because as we dive into our ascension, we learn very quickly that knowing thyself is key to ascension and to enlightenment. Because as within, so without, we are the cosmos, and that is found within. So today, I have Tah Groen here with us. I'm going to pull her on stage and let her introduce herself. Hello and welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Oh, I'm so excited. Thanks for having me, Diana. Yes, human design analyst since 2006. I am a yoga teacher for 25 years. I run yoga teacher training programs in San Diego. I have three, get this, projector children and two projector grandchildren and one manifesting generator grandbaby. So we'll dive into all of that because it's a fascinating topic. I'm so happy to talk human design. It's my favorite topic. So thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely. I literally went looking for people that would talk human design because it's getting really it's not getting new. It is new. It's starting to come. It's not even new though, but it's coming to light more and more and more. There's people I've been teaching metaphysics for a few years and hadn't even heard of it because it's so and it just stands the test of time. Like the fact that it includes the Kabbalah, which I teach, it's included with the Vedics, which is just all of it, all our core teachings brought together, of course, astrology, of course, and just brought together. And then it prints out such an exact replica. I've done astrological charts many times on myself, using computers or actual people, and nothing hit it like finding out I was a projector. And you having three kids, this is just going to be amazing because explain to we're about 20% of the population, correct?
Right.
And
Yes.
we can be very vital tools for the awakening, for the ascension, for just progression of humanity. But we're almost left useless if the atmosphere isn't correct for us. So I would love, of course, to dive into my own first and let us know why that is. Why does the projector, and how is the best way the projector can get that validation and how they can be of use?
Right. I have incredible tingling all over my body because I've always thought it was a gift that I was given to have three projector children. Absolutely. And because of that, you're incredibly vulnerable. And what happens is the conditioning field creates these projectors that end up being super slaves and burn themselves out. Okay. Right. So have you felt any of that before you learned human design? How you just were a super slave, working so hard, depleted, not here to actually be working hard. You're here to guide us, because you have this openness, this vulnerability of pulling in the generative force. Most of the planet has a generative force. We call it in yoga Shakti fuel, right? It's what creates, it builds, and it generates vitality, health, and wellness. You cannot have a planet without generators. So the projector is so open in this center called the sacral that they assess the energy and they know and feel and sense when generators, 7% of the planet, are running frustration or they're running satisfaction. And so picking and choosing where you are in space and time for a projector is key. And they end up wanting to fix the energy. You're doing it wrong. You're frustrated. I see you. Let's fix that. And then they go in there penetrating and they try to switch it all up without being invited. Okay. And then they get rejected and bitter, It's just all body mechanics, you guys. It's body mechanics. Okay, so that was a lot to unravel.
Oh, I feel all of it. As I mean, it might be for someone listening that's not a projector, or even a generator, to see like how that is, because that's exactly what it is. And it's like, and I wouldn't understand, and like it would get misconstrued as like bipolar, but it's not bipolar. But because I would be bursts of energy to do stuff, and then nothing, and then empty, and then like just nothing, and not like depressed empty, but just literally nothing. I need to veg and do nothing for a long time before I realized like the dance. And my husband's a generator. So I'm already like, my daughter being a manifesting generator, which I told you. And then my other son's a manifester. How does the manifestors, because I find a lot of energy comes between me and the manifester in a good way, where he can take my mood. Like I'm usually happy, but like as a mom, you get like worried. You can be like, okay, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to do this. And then he'll be like, he'll just do something silly. And then bam, I'm like filled with all this, like, we'll get it done. It's no problem. Like, is there something with the manifester that just feels like they give more energy than the generator? And that's my own personal experience. If I knew who everybody was, manifester or generator, would be easy, but I only know like my family of who they are.
Right. I'm always learning. And the point about human design is its differentiation. There's in one gate 1,080 variations in one of the 64 gates. That's a lot of difference. So I'm always learning. And this experience that you're having with your son is fabulous. You know, maybe he has the gate of spirit, like he brings lightness and spirit into the relationship. And then there's detriments. Maybe there's a, detriment that he does to one of the siblings, so there's all this layers of dynamics. But the most important thing for human design is the keynotes. And so the keynote for a manifester is impact. So he's just impacting you, and he impacts the whole family. So anything that comes from a manifester has more impact. So when you follow manifestors on Instagram, they say the same thing that I'm saying, but people can hear it better from them than from me. It's like,
I know what that feels like. Yeah. I get a select few that are like, oh, I see everything you're saying. But then most people are like, wow, that's a lot. Because it's just so much information coming in right now. And what you said right there, it's 180 variations. And that's like the notes.
1,080 variations for one.
Oh, wow.
Day. Yeah.
Jeez, wow. Yeah. Wow. That makes sense, because each one has 100 and something, like each of the things. Because I know like on my app, like the keys, I haven't learned how to do it myself. I'm actually taking a course right now to do it myself, because I do it with this app and I couldn't imagine being able to do it better. But like it has the things around the gram, which just I love. It's I did notice it's an upside down cross almost.
Can you show me your chart? Is that your chart?
Yeah, I think that's my chart. Yeah.
Right. So there's an inner authority in human design, which is one of the most important things. There's two things that are so important: your aura type, and then the inner authority. So you're a aura projector with the inner authority splenic. Yeah. And then you put on top of that all the variations of the gates hanging on open centers.
Yeah, like the channels matter. Yeah. And then there's for me, it shows blue and pink means you don't know about it. Blue means you do know about it. And then the blue pink means you might know about it. It's very technical human design language there. But it's just, and then when you get in and you read what it writes, what that means for you, it's like, how does this computer program know me? And it's a little scary. Like, that's clearly a computer program, like just printing that all up. And it's like, that is spot on.
Right. But as an analyst, there's genetic continuity to all of that. So you cannot isolate one gate and then not associate it with the whole chart. That's where analyzing comes in. And the human design program is 3.5 years just to get the first level of analysis, right? So there's a lot. And everybody's different because we're speaking through our design. I'm speaking through my manifesting generator design, colored in. So you talked about your daughter being very colored in. That means she's defined, and she also makes an impact with the color. And the white is where you're taking in others. So as a projector, your sacral is white, and most of the chart is white for you. So you're incredibly vulnerable. So how does that feel for you, knowing that most of your chart is white, and that somebody like me comes in and I'm impacting you even virtually like this? It's like my defined head in ajna, which is very strong in me, is going into your open head in ajna, and you're feeling my consistent, reliable thought patterns that are in my head impacting you.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I'm very aware, and it's why I pretty much work only online now. Because I noticed before, and I always used to poo on myself, but oh, you're so weak. And then you learn the empath thing. You're like, oh, I'm such an empath. And you go through, but then that's what led me to enlightenment to begin with, though. So I can't complain too much because it has made me so like spiritually strong to the point where I know I'm vulnerable, and I still am vulnerable, but I've learned so many metaphysical tricks and just Buddhist practices, meditation, and energy control. Like I can control my energy body. I viscerally feel it. And when something's astray, I'm usually able to rectify it quite quickly before it even like manifests as a lived reaction kind of thing. But it's consistently painful. Yes, it's consistently not, but like it's noted that I'm vulnerable to so many things and so
Right.
many people.
Right. But I want to say that the white spaces in our charts are where we go to school, where we gain wisdom.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Because most of it being that that's my entire mission now, is just to gain wisdom and gain more and more and more. Like I went and became a minister reverend just so I could be able to pump back out everything I was taking in. Like I was overloading on information, like bringing it all in. Like, and I honestly feel like I can't learn enough. Like I feel like it's my entire mission in life just to learn and learn and learn. And then the way my brain works, like you were saying about how you have solidified ideas, I wouldn't even know what that's like. Like, and I kind of have to formulate solidified ideas and just be like, okay, this is what I'm going to believe. But I'm very aware that I've chosen one of the many things that are existing in the layers that is me. But I think it's very fitting, especially now with the ascension and everything I feel pulled to teach. When I talk about dimensions and how I can see all of them, it's because I'm living in all of them, because I have no loyalty to any one construct, if that makes sense, other than like world peace and betterment and enlightenment and a better world. Like that's the goal. But I'm not like, however everybody wants to get there is more than fine with me, like I have no dogmas, put it that way.
Right. And so then we go back to the body mechanics and living our design in an authentic way that creates decision making that is true to our true self. And so how do we do that when we have a lot of openness in our design? Because the open spaces get impacted by others and pull us off track. So the open head and ajna, what you just described was incredibly accurate. First of all, the foundation for you is very much a big part of how you work, because you're first line, right? You're first line, and you need study and foundation. So that in itself is a insecurity moving to security, right? But that's still a foundation. But when you go from these open centers and you go, oh, I have to solve this problem, I need to figure this out, thinking about things that are probably not related to your inner mechanics, because as a splenic projector, the keynotes for you are waiting for the invitation, the correct invitation, and listening to that little whisper of splenic hit. So And then the ultimate umbrella for that for a projector is to be our guide. So you're guiding. If you're not guiding or directing, then you're not doing your projector role.
That's
Okay,
been
so all of
perfect.
this, yeah, so all of this study, all of this, I got to figure it out. I need to know. You're not certain. You don't have, and then the next open center is the ajna, which is I need to be certain. I am certain. I got to do this, and you're not certain. And you said that it's just like this fluid thing. So only in the moment is when splenic projectors can move their trajectory. Like, oh, this is the right place for me. So there's examples of this. I mean, it's so dramatic. Splenic projectors, when you learned your strategy of how to respond, I mean, how to navigate life, how was it? Liberating, I bet, knowing that you could choose in the moment what to do. Choose in the moment what to do.
Yeah, huge, huge. And like, and a lot of it when I got into it was just validating to what I was already pretty much figuring out as I basically went through like my own version of like, I've never healed or hired anyone to heal me in any way. Except those astral charts I did like a million years ago when I actually had someone do up an astral chart. But other than that, like I've never done healing. I've always like felt like I had to figure it out myself. And then, but listening to that intuition was something that always would be like, okay, well, this is what I'll do. Cause it's the only thing I found from trial and error that had any form of alleviating anxiety. Cause I used to be very like neurotic and anxiety ridden. Oh God, what do I do? Like there was so many variations. I was like a freezer. Like a freeze up and just be like, I don't know what to do. Like, and I wouldn't do anything.
Right. And so let's just describe that moment because real life is the best teaching tool. So splenic authority, if you're out there and you have that spleen, splenic authority, it's there on the left side of the chart. And you're either a projector or a manifester. Okay. And when you miss that window, because it only comes in a whisper, and then you miss the whisper, and then all of a sudden you're confused because it may not come back again. It may not come back again.
That is very true. I have found that like, and I've just gotten on listening better and then things come in faster. So it's funny, like if you know, obviously everyone knows the power of now, but like living it, learning this and then combining it, because it's one of those original books I think we all read in the beginning. It was like, oh my goodness. So like truly, truly for me, the power of now is like the only option, like living in the now, which we all try anyways, and we maintain and but it's like mandatory. It's insane. Otherwise, and this is why I have to maintain coherent balance because especially as a mother of 3 little kids, like it's easy to not stay in that place, right?
Right. So that helps me with your manifesting generator daughter, right? Is she an emotional being?
Oh, yes. She's 7, so sometimes it's like, oh, but yeah.
No, but I mean, does she have an emotional solar plex defined in human design?
Okay.
Do you
Let
know?
me check.
Because as you're looking, I would love to share if you are a splenic individual who needs to be in the now, right?
Yeah.
Needs to be in the now. There are 50% of she is that all the white is all the white definition?
Yeah, so the white is
yes.
defined and the blank is not.
Okay, so yes, she is a solar plex definition. So yes, I knew this. Because you had commented about that's the most challenging is having the manifesting generator. But what's most challenging about that, Diana, is that she's emotional defined. Her solar plex is defined. And what does that mean? It's the complete opposite of you. You're logical, in the now. I got this. This is how I make decisions. And she needs long transition times. You give her a long time to make a decision and set her up for success. You have to set her up for success. This is what we're planning on. what can you think about this probably in the future? You know what I mean? Just the language has to be different, She's not having any truth in the now. No decisions can be made in the moment.
That is so 100%. So it's good to know it's going to last forever, because right now we kind of like allow that leeway because she's little. And you know, kids are imaginative, but we just chalked it up to that. So like you're saying, so she'll always be like this. Oh God, that's yeah. I'm like, no, no, no. Everything else, because if it's not now, like 10 minutes later, I'll be like, never mind, let's not bother. You know, because I'll just be like over it and I'll moved on to the next now.
Right. Right. So if anything, just me sharing that with you will transform the way you interact with emotional being. We are all different. And that emotional being can only sample decision making in an emotional wave. Okay, so 50% of the planet have this defined. So you're standing at the grocery store, and most likely the person in front of you is a defined emotional system. Okay, so you're getting, as a open emotional being, right, white, you're getting bombarded with this emotional wave into your body, and you're standing there going, why am I sad? What's going on? You know?
Yeah. That
And then
happens all the time.
Right. So there you go. Oh, boundaries, that's them. You know, we come together like pieces of a puzzle. So this emotional being has to not be spontaneous, because they jump when they're happy, right? Oh yeah, this is great. I'm gonna jump. I'm gonna make this decision, and then they also do the same thing when they're sad. You know, like I am not in the mood to do that, and then the opportunity's gone. Maybe it was a good opportunity, right? So training or getting a child who's an emotional being like your manifesting generator daughter to just slow down and check in with her body. How are you feeling? And we're gonna be leaving in about 15 minutes. I'm gonna set the timer, and just all of that transition.
We actually found, I naturally discovered that would help, because I just figured structure might help better because I'm ADD, you know what I mean? Like I'll, you know, we'll get through the mom stuff, but I realize she needs, like, it's at 7 o'clock. And then we count down, like it's a half an hour, it's 15 minutes. And then if there's any fuss, I'm like, you were told it was in 10 minutes. And then, but that's actually been really helping with her, like everything with routine. Like she's been more on everything. So that's good to know, like that this is like a part of her, because it is so different than me. And when something is so different, you do get like, and I know she's a Gemini, so like, and I know a lot about astrology, so this goes deep, because I'm like, this isn't part of your Gemini-ness, like this isn't part of your, it's not even like overly in her star chart. So that's funny that this is coming out of this, because our one son is autistic, and we were starting to worry. I mean, it's okay, you love them anyways, but we don't want to leave her without resources, kind of thing. So it's actually been on our mind, like, is she autistic too? Because of this rigidity of unwilling to, like, because me and my husband are both spontaneous. And we thought, like, you have lovely parents that pick her up from school and go, let's go to the play park. Like the playhouses, the you know, like all these, we'll just go for an hour and a half out of town and go do all these things all the time. And she's always like, oh, but I want to go home. Oh, but I want to do this. And it's like, but we did that yesterday, boring, you know? And we just never understood. And we thought it might be an autistic thing because that's part of it, right? And so that's good to know that it's just part of that emotional, you know, I'm all about honoring their things, but it's like I have to discover it to honor it.
Right. That's why what I do is so valuable, because you get to see the differences, and then you honor the differences, and then you have compassion and understanding and true love unconditionally, because you're like, oh, it's right there in her chart. How beautiful is that? And then the variety. Manifesting generators are not here to finish their projects. They're interested, and then they go on.
That makes sense. Yeah, she's like that too. I did read up on that partner chart. Yeah.
I mean, because I was so conditioned to finish things. And then I only have half of the channel of finishing, because down at the bottom of your chart, there's these 3 format energies that really set the tone for everybody in the vicinity of them, or for our planet. There are 3 circuits at the bottom that go to the sacral, right? You don't have a sacral because you're a projector, but these 3 format energies are generative energies. And so when I don't finish things, I only have half of the channel. So it really irks me. It's like, oh my God, I didn't finish that. But knowing that I'm a manifesting generator who is allowed to not finish things, I'm like, oh, that's okay, sweetie. You're all right. But it's still there, you know, that like urge, like, oh my God, I wanted, but I didn't, and I don't have the juice for it. I don't have the sacral fuel to do it. And you don't force it. You don't force it, and you don't condition yourself, because guess what? You lose the ability to use it accurately. You lose the ability to use that tool. And then guess what? You as a projector feel my frustration and see why is she doing that? She doesn't really want to be doing that. That's not her energy right now. But she's forcing herself to do that, you know. So you see as a projector, because you're pulling in the yucky sacral energy, and you're going, oh my God, that feels horrible. I'm going to leave now.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Oh, 120,000%. Yeah, that makes complete sense. And that's another, yeah, she definitely, but she's only 7, so I'm not too, you better finish, you know, because she's only 7, so we weren't there yet. But that's good to know going forward that she's going to stay like that. And I get you on the energy honoring. Like, you have to honor your energy. And if you don't, like, in this, like, it explains so much, and it takes you from being like the lower end of what your is it, with the title, is it called, it's not signs like astrology, like what are they, just titles like manifestor, projector, what do you call them, like your
auras.
or
so yeah, that's really significant. So the first level is the aura level. So
they're literal,
aura? They're literal energies. Yes. So the aura of a generator,
that makes a lot of sense,
is enveloping. We envelop you. And then the aura of you as a projector, it's like penetrating. It's one person at a time. And then the reflector, right? We did 1% of the planet.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about them, because that's weird.
Yeah, no definition. They have hanging gates, which is still definition, but their centers are white. And then the manifestor, which you have, which is the 9% of the planet, and their aura is more of a round marble. It's protective and repelling.
Is that like an Elon Musk type? Is that the manifestor? Would you guess? Like that?
I don't know his type.
Oh, yeah, well, just that, like not he's my son's, but like I've always felt like he was going to be amazing. Everywhere he goes, everybody, like, he always says the right thing. He always, like, does the right thing. When he gets mad, he's mad, but he's also a Leo, so that's like, and then the leaderness is also very Leo, but like I've always felt like he might be like the spiritual leader that, like, I could be his, like, teacher and guide in my projector way, and him as the manifestor would actually be the one to take it forward to the stage, kind of thing, and be the one that's the voice for it, because like there's nothing he doesn't do that people don't look at, you know.
So your manifestor son, all of the keynotes are, he makes an impact. He's here to be incredibly impactful by creating his own ideas and own things, right? And so he is the big ship, and then the little ripples go out. That's what manifestors do. They're here to inform others what they want to do. And when they inform, then the pathway is clear for them. But if they're not informing, they get resistance. So these are all keynotes for every manifestor out there.
Yes.
Informing is the most important. So as a mother of a manifestor, all you need to do is have more questions. Well, actually, manifestors do not like questions. Open-ended questions make them crazy.
He doesn't like being questioned at all. And
Right.
if you want to tell him something, you have to, like it's his idea.
Yes. Okay, so you got it.
Good idea if we did this now.
Right. So then maybe after the fact, when he's done something, you say, wouldn't that have worked better if we had talked about it first?
Yes.
Just let me know. Let me know what your plans are. And then the pathway is clear. He gets to do whatever he wants.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I wasn't sure if he was taking the Leo-ness, because Leos don't like to be questioned either. And that actually is a good question to ask you next. What would you say are the correlations between astrology and human design? Because as you read through both, because I was very familiar with astrology and then going over, is that just part of, so like manifestors usually are Leos, or projectors usually are Sagittarius, and then her being a Gemini, is that like, do they fall in on an average, or is it just that overlay? Because I know everyone's star chart, like, is that like that circle with the lines, like, and then I know that's how they do the human design, right? They take it and they overlay it, and the Kabbalah is there and all that. And is that how they're doing it, or is it specifically have anything to do with being a Sagittarius, a Gemini, or anything like that?
So remember we talked about the 1080 variations? All of that is wrapped up in there somehow. And there's order in the chaos. Because yes, Ra Uru, who is the founder of human design, I've listened to many of his lectures, and he talks about this is in Virgo, this is in Gemini, you know what I mean? So it is sprinkled throughout the entire chart. But if you lay out the mandala, right, the mandala has the I Ching on the outside, which correlates with the DNA, the code, the genetic code, and then you have the planets, and then you have the centers, the 9 centers in the middle. So it's a mandala that is with geometry that works, because that geometry, when you line up all those lines, that's when you have your definition. And what's fascinating is did you know any of this yet? Did you know any
with the mandala?
Yes.
No, but it doesn't surprise me, because that's where you find everything, like the tree of Kabbalah also being the DNA strands, when you take them together. So like, no, not specifically with the mandala, but I've seen it with many things.
So that's the mandala. Exactly. So the mandala is this circle layers that go inside, and then finally you have the 64 gates, and then you have all the channels. But there's another added calculation, and it's the design side is red, and then the personality side is black. So you have these two calculations. One is calculated 3 months before you're born, and then right when you come out, you have the other calculation. And it's a forced marriage. This is the eternal side. This is the vehicle side, or the DNA, the genetics, the carnage. This is your vehicle. Okay, you honor the vehicle. So which is
birth and which is cosmic? The 3 months before is birth, like genetic?
No, the 3 month before is genetic. Genetic, it's the data that the calculation that 3 months before you're born in mom's womb, and then you come out and it's the black. This is the birth time.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, and then there's a forced marriage, and then that's how they fit together with their gates and channels, and your honoring. This is why mind is so tricky, because mind is the black, the eternal side. We think we know what we're supposed to do, right? With this data, when we come out, but we've got a body. We have this DNA and this genetic code, and so what's going to take precedence? It's this physical body. We are on a physical plane. So you meld these two together, and you honor the vehicle, and you let the passenger, the mind, take second fiddle. So that's why when you're spinning with the mind, I'm thinking about things that don't matter, I'm so certain, and you're allowing that to speak and create movement for your vehicle, you're going in the wrong direction. You're going in the wrong geometry in time and space. Does that make sense?
100,000%. I like, this is how I see things, and I'm working on the images. This is what's coming to me. Doctor Strange, and the things they make, like in the air,
Yes.
and then the
Yeah.
clocks turning, because I always use this on my show, and I keep here, like, this is what, and it's not perfect, but it's like everything is always spinning all around you. Every decision, every
Yeah.
thought, you're choosing the path,
Yeah.
you're choosing it, and it's going to eventually alter your frequency, but always be your vibration, just in the lived reality of right now. So this sounds like the much, much deeper, profound truth of why that is. Like,
Yeah.
I knew it was, and I knew kind of why. Like, there's a bunch of bigger reasons, but that's getting really micro on the why, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, that is it. And so then I'm very sensitive to energy. So, and then when you put these together, you're creating this spirit consciousness in the body. So then you're awakening the divine spirit within your vehicle when you honor this. And then that expansive feeling that that beautiful, it's like, it goes out. It's so big and it touches everything. And there's order in the chaos, right? Because I am aligned. I am connected to my spirit consciousness. And so that means that you are too, because you're getting some of this energy. You're getting some of this frequency. And it's contagious. It's contagious. That's how we heal each other.
Yes, 100%. And that's exactly what I teach. So that's amazing. And I need to look into your school, because yeah, my course I'm taking on human design has not mentioned anything so profound. It's just a certification thing. And you said it takes 3 years just to learn the aura thing. Yeah, it's not going deep enough.
No. And then you have to understand that this is my profile. I'm a 6'3" profile. I've had a lot of trial and error. I am only coming off. Anybody who's a sixth line out there, it's a beautiful journey and you embrace the journey and all of that, but you do not get to really blossom until after 50. And so this is my design. This is my design. And Ra spoke about this design, because I got to personally have him in class. Pretty amazing. And I will always remember him saying he was very afraid for 6'3s to give readings before 50. I wasn't ready. I'm ready now. So it's different. So that's what I'm saying. I have that experience. I have that role model. I embody that within my DNA now. I can feel it because it resonates. It comes out in goosebumps and spirit consciousness. So yeah, each person is different. Your teachers are very important. Who you choose to be your teacher is very important. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. This is why I only rely on, I find big vibes with the people from the early 1900s. And your teacher is from then. Isn't he the one that came out with human design?
Raul, yes.
I haven't memorized the name yet. I have one of his biggest books, 35 hours worth of my Audible account, that I'm getting to next.
Good. Yeah. So I highly recommend just listening to him. And there's tons of recordings with Raul just speaking. And that's how you learn.
You got to see him, like the actual him.
So the actual him.
Yeah. Oh, geez.
And Linda,
he survived then? He must have been very old.
No, he died young, actually quite young. He died from a stomach. Yeah, it was very tragic. Yeah, he went into the hospital and did not come out.
Oh.
Yeah, and everybody just was shocked, was very incredibly shocked. So Linda Bunnell, who is my teacher, she had only run one other program, 3-year program prior to mine. So I'm in the second 3.5-year program with Linda Bunnell, who wrote the book Differentiation with Ra. So the Bible, Linda Bunnell's book, is important to get for you.
Yeah, here, let me write that in the comments. Linda, just so everyone that's looking at this, and then how do you spell her last name?
Bunnell, Bunnell.
Oh, exactly how it sounds.
Yeah, and it's differentiation. Let me just get the time. Oh, it's so long, and let's see. It's the oh my gosh, so sorry. And you can. It's the definitive. I always forget the definitive book of human design, the science of differentiation. So that's why I always forget.
Perfect. Oh, I'm the worst with remembering exact titles and all. Yeah. My brain just doesn't want to keep them in.
Yeah, so this is the cover.
Oh, perfect. Like okay, nice. Yeah,
so
I see
you want to
that.
get that. And so awesome. Ra and Linda wrote this book together.
Oh, okay. Great. Okay.
So this book was not even published when I was going to school.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So you've been practicing human design then for how long have you been doing it?
Yes, I started in 2006 with my program. So I didn't graduate.
Oh yeah, you say that and you're saying yes. So that's what, almost 20 years ago now. That's a good amount of time. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, no, it's good. So then when you say that you're not learning this from all that spirit consciousness, it comes with time. You know, the knowledge of feeling it in the body, the mechanics of it, like noticing and feeling, like truly the magnetic monopole, because there's this place, gate 2, that holds us together in the illusion of what we are. You know, I mean, it's all these real esoterical concepts, but they have meaning now.
And then human design is giving it. Sorry to cut you off there, because that's exactly it. Like esotericism, I feel like intuitively knew this, and it's saying it in a lot of like its own different ways, and then every different tradition says it in a different way. I see and I feel, and talking to you who's an actual expert, because I was feeling this without hearing information as good as yours, that human design, I think, is that one solid thing we could start to create something of meaning out of to go forward, because we're in the awakening, we're all learning stuff, it's all over the place. And this is why I put myself in it as a minister, to try to find that anchorage and utilize my brain that goes everywhere. You know, I might as well put
yes. And I just want to share with you, I mean, that's beautiful, that is exactly it, but I do want to share with you that your mind, brilliant, but it's for outer authority. It's to do what you're doing right now, right? It's not to connect to that spirit consciousness within your physical mechanics that guides you in your direction. Like when you open that splenic pit up so accurately, it's precise for all of us, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
I feel that, and that's exactly why I started my show to begin with. Because, and that's I was doing awakening stuff for eons until I started since 2012, because, you know, I wanted to wake up. I had minor awakenings before that, but I'm one of those people, probably because I didn't have the energy, that has ridden the waves of what's happening. So like 2012, I really started to wake up, but it wasn't until 2020 when there was that even greater push. And I started my show, something I've wanted to do forever before even getting into spirituality, because I originally did journalism. So I felt that need to just, you know, so then in 2020 came around, even though I was no expert in one thing, which makes sense. Now I would just knew a ton about everything, and I would just have to spill it out. But then more information would come and I'd spill it out, but nothing's ever stuck with this is what I do. I'm sometimes like, I'm a Buddhist. No, I'm a Kabbalist. No, you know what I mean? Like there's no one, there's all of it. And I never feel like I make sense until I get into that connecting space here on camera. And then I'm like, here it is. And I have people tell me all the time that came out of my brain. And I'm like, yeah, and it just came into my brain today. So it probably did.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, that's the way we work together. Yeah, and that we cannot stand alone, and that the more we interact oracally like this, the bigger the field gets, the bigger the spiritual resonance happens, and then people get awakened by just us doing this. It's very powerful. AI can't do this.
No.
AI cannot do this. This is beyond that. And so if anybody's worried about AI, just get together and have conversations. Just do what we're doing.
Oh yeah, I talk timelines all the time because I don't know about you, but I'm like I've visually seen it, like how they say like when you switch timelines, people around you will be completely different and they didn't change, you're in a different timeline. And like I've seen that. And either, you know, maybe I am healing them or it's a different timeline. But that right there, what you're saying about the AI, if we just focus on this and just making us better and spreading it out and enhancing those that are already awake, we don't need to worry about it because like the universe will naturally take care of it because you're like the all is mind and your projection is where you're going to go regardless. You know, like you'll see fizzlings, you might be slightly bothered, but ultimately you'll be fine.
Oh my gosh, I love talking to you. The dimensional thing, so real. We have glitches. And so the Doctor Strange movie, how accurate is that?
Yeah, like when I watched it, I'm like, I don't want to like, but that's true. Like this is a Marvel movie, but that's true.
Right. And so how do we do that dimensional thing? We stay present in time and space. We stay present in time and space so that we can. The other movie that is fascinating is Ant-Man. Remember Ant-Man when he's like got all the different personalities and then one of the personalities says, "How are you doing that? How are you going to the top?" It's because he stayed focused on his true identity and he deleted all the old patterns that were not serving him. So if we want to circle back, human design is about that strategy of deleting old patterns that are not serving us, conditioned patterns that are from DNA from the past, because remember the red, that's old stuff coming in. And it's separate from the consciousness, which is on the other side, the black. And so they are separate patterns. But when you put these two patterns together and it's a forced marriage, that's the gold. That's the magic. And then you may have a red side and a black side that activates two centers. And maybe that's your splenic center over there that's been activated by DNA on one side and then your mind on the other. But guess what? They now have to listen to your spleen as your whisper.
Yes.
As your authentic, directional, killing off old, unserving, low frequency shit that happened in the war 5 generations ago, right? Of lack, sacrifice, and worry and doubt. All of that gets erased when you honor the vehicle. Does that make sense?
100,000%. And that is exactly what I find. And I've already been preaching human design to people without even like, it's just one of those things. I know it's enormous before even fully encompassing how enormous it is, because every truth I found, especially the energy thing, has just allowed me to forgive myself for being lazy. Like I was like, everyone thought you're just lazy. You just like, if you just put your mind to it, if you just had any ambition. And it's like, no, because sometimes I could be immensely ambitious and get done things, which it says in my thing, I can get done in 10 minutes what could take someone else 3 hours. Because when I focus in, and that's exactly how it is. And since I've known this, I now have a real job. I mean, I love this job. I'm just going to keep doing it, but I'm a digital media consultant now, going back to my original education in broadcast journalism, because we did a lot of computer design information from graduating in 2000 and never even applying for a job that whole time because I never wanted to. I didn't, the actual media world, I did 2 different co-op jobs and it was like, ugh. And I literally threw up after one day because I was so just like, ugh, like that was a lot of work for something I didn't care about. I had to go do sports shoots. And it's just like the whole world was so fake. It provided me nothing. But when I was in school and I was passionate and I was doing stories about things I liked, the energy was there the whole time. It wasn't
Right.
until I had to go into the, and then, so here I am, like what, 2004. And I had somebody come to me because of the videos that I make here. And they're like, and we live in the same town. And they're like, I'm doing this with my business. Could you help with this? And I was like, yes. And I'm loving it. And it's going great. And they've given me more and more things to do. And it's going
Wow.
great because I'm in it and I feel it. And now that I know this might not happen before because I wouldn't have known,
Right.
that's how my energy is going to work. Like I told them, I need to work when I want to work. You can't give me hours. I'm going to clock on and do it when I please.
Yeah.
And
Excellent.
but it's going and it's going great. They're super happy. They're saying like they're already getting more business after one day of work. They were already getting more businesses. Our business, like clients. And I was just like, and it's the kind of thing doing marketing for, it's good. Like it's marketing a good business. And
Right.
like,
So, and you were invited. You were invited.
And I was invited. Yes. And now I know I need to be invited.
Key. That's the key.
It's true. And that's what YouTube provides me with. And that's why I feel like I didn't know this before, but anybody that chooses to watch me, you chose to watch me. There's my invite. And I always felt like this is terrible, but I always felt because I started as an atheist, I was raised atheist. So I was very into vampires in my teenage years, in my early 20s, huge into vampires. And I always felt like I was one. I even have 2 marks that look like they're from a vampire, not like, but I felt like I was. I know. And then when I found a projector, I'm like, oh, I'm not an evil vampire. I'm a projector. Because then when I got into spirituality, I realized I'm like, oh God, I'm kind of like that. When you hear about like the narcissistic.
All right, okay. So can I share the similarities between the vampire? What I think you're trying to say is that as a projector, projectors are needy, actually. Yeah. Okay.
Very.
So they suck the generator energy. Yeah, because I have 3 projector children, so I know this. It's like, don't leave, mom. Don't leave. We need you. Like they can't do their homework without me sitting right next to them. I'm like, oh my God, help me. So it's just like this. Yeah. So it's that vampire energy, just like sucking you, and so that's why sometimes projectors get a bad rap. Because they're all for the other. And if they're not invited into that energy, you get rejected. You get rejected and then you end up bitter. So I just have to keynote all of that in human design language, because keynotes are so important. When we get this repetition of these specific words, it goes deep into the cells, and that's how we heal. That's how we heal. So somebody's coming in, but we're good. We're good.
No worries. I got 2 too.
Yeah. Did that make sense?
1,000%. And it's funny too, because the invite in thing, that's vampire too. And when I read that, I was like, that's more vampire evidence. Like, because vampires need to be invited in.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Learning that though was so helpful. And it's like, okay, everyone doesn't hate me. It's just, I'm very like, this is why I became a life coach for a minute, but well, it was like a year, but I did not enjoy it. I didn't do it much. I would find excuses. That's where I became like an instant slacker, when I was so excited to begin with, because in my show, people would ask me for help and I would help them. I'm like, this is great. I'm going to do this professionally. But they were asking me as like a YouTube personality to help them. Where when I became a life coach, people just like, it's not, you know, like, it's not the way to go for people that actually want to heal. You know what I mean? Like, it's not the right avenue. People don't want to hear such metaphysical information. They don't want to hear they're the problem. They want to hear that their mother's the problem. You know what I mean? Like, they're looking.
So, but I'm now doing 3-month coaching programs, and I just started this last 3 months ago. So I pull all of it in. I'm pulling all of this metaphysical stuff in so that humanity can awaken, or my clients can awaken in a deep, deep way. I share all the multiverse with my clients, and I share the glitching and the patterns. So no, we can do this. You can coach people through this quickly. Is that what? So you were saying that's not what we want.
I think I just need to put it out again. This is why I became a minister, because I do plan on, I was just going to switch the title. So when people come to me, they know it's going to be highly metaphysical. They have to agree ahead of time that I'm going to blame you for everything. You know, like not really, but like, it's like the self.
No, that we create our own reality.
Exactly. So like people would come and they'd be like, oh, but my family. And I would be like, okay, yes, but like they are them. You just have to separate. I like, they want to have that. Oh, yes, your mother did you wrong. Oh, yeah. You know, that's what but that's not me. And then I would say, and that's like, I get it. It's that lack of invitation. But yeah, if I put it out again, that's what I'm working on now. I'm taking a minute before I launch it back up. And I even closed down the website. I made a new website, but I haven't launched as that yet because I just need to find how to present it. So when you come to me, you know what we're going to be doing very clearly.
I would love to collaborate. We can work something that is amazing. It's amazing because the foundation is energy, yes. and the multiverse and the identities, right?
Yes. Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah, I'm definitely, it's the whole reason I started doing guests is because I felt the need to like come together in a way that just can't be done. I tried actually doing in-person stuff. I tried setting stuff up and we started on Zoom to meet. And then it turned out they were from Ontario, but they were from all over Ontario. And it's like, this isn't going to work for in-person.
Right.
Because like, I feel this need to like bring more together. Like,
yeah. And that's exactly what I was reading. And that's why I brought in the AI thing, because we are being monitored all the time. We are being manipulated all the time. And the only way to claim our power is to do more of this interaction, is to come together and rise up. I mean, it sounds so lofty, but it's the only way. This community, this interaction, this discussion to elevate awareness. It's the only way.
It's true. That's exactly what's pushed me too. Like just push me, like, because I started going to church for a bit because the only people you can find are Christians. And I was just like, but ugh. And so that like led to being a minister and led to doing it myself because we have to do it ourselves. And it's like, and like I said, coming from being a person that I kind of was like lazy, but now I know it's projector, but to push myself to be the one to tell myself, and this is before I even knew I was a projector, to be like, Diana, you have to do it. Nobody else is doing it. You have to.
Yeah, and Ra always says it's one person at a time. It's one awakening at a time. And to share their their aura map with them so that they can figure out, and well, mainly so that they can love themselves. It's to love ourselves in all of our openness, in all of our detriments, and to connect to the identity that is truly us, which raises so that we can be the Ant-Man at the top, and not all those little things at the bottom. Delete.
100%. Yeah. I feel like that is so exactly what human design does. Yes. Exactly what it does. And I tried preaching, I'm still preaching it to Twitter, but I had people that I respect because I've collaborated with people on Twitter. That's how I started doing guests. And they're telling me that, oh, but don't, because we've learned in the spiritual world, people will make cults. People will very easily make cults. Even YouTube people that get famous, now all of a sudden they have a membership. It's $200 a month. Only the elite get in, and it's like, that's not how we're going to ascend the world. And that's great. I'm not pooing on people that want to make money, but it's like, that's not enough. And and all these different religions and even myself kind of like, well, this is what I'm teaching. It's not like my religion, but this is the way I'm living my life. Human design is the first thing that is a structured thing pulling from these things, I found all these truths and everything it mentioned.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, okay, I'm going to look into this.
Yeah.
And it is, I think it is going to be that platform where, like, I'm scared to say religion. We need a new word, but like, it needs to be, but we do need some kind of solid platform, right? Like the new age needs a new Bible. Like you said earlier, like it needs a new, we're humans. And even though we're way more intelligent now, we still need like a signpost, a guiding anchor. And it's funny because you say like, I might not ever need one personally, but I feel like humanity needs something that like, okay, this is it, to keep us organized, structured, and moving up and forward as fast as possible. Because I do think we're going to ascend, and this is what I always preach, but the timeline is what's up for grabs here, and how much chaos we're going to see as we go.
Right.
That's really what I'm trying, because it's guaranteed we are enlightening. It's guaranteed it's happening. But is it going to take 100 years or is it going to take 5? You know, like, because we could bang this out really quickly if we got enough people's energy involved.
Yes, yes, yes. So I do want to say one thing about that foundation of human design. It's a beautiful concept and I love it. But what's happening, it's like the game of telephone.
Yeah, because even I got watered down information, because yours is so much deeper and more profound.
Right. And it should stay simple like this. Really, spirit consciousness, energy, openness, vulnerable impact. You know what I mean? All these keynotes
of knowing thyself, I think is going to be like the tagline. Because when you know yourself, like you said, you love yourself. Like when I knew why I was lazy, I realized I wasn't lazy. I don't have the ability to make my own energy. That's a huge difference. And I had nothing but like apologetic, like I'd been abusing myself for years, going, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, oh,
so just
like,
simple,
my bad.
Just as simple as enough. Because how profound is that? Right? How profound is that? Just knowing and practicing, honoring and growing the splenic muscle. Like that's enough for like a year. Oh my gosh, just a year. Is this my splenic hit? I think so. Oh, I missed it. You know what I mean? Like it's a 7-year experiment. When you get into human design, we talk about this all the time. The cells regenerate after 7 years. So it's a 7-year cycle.
Yeah, I tell people that all the time. So that's why they say 7 years. That's genius. I tell people that so start today, in 7 years you'll be new, but like every day something's new, every minute there's a new cell, like it's going to be continuous.
Yeah, and I was just listening to Ra. He's like old lectures at that time. Human design had been on its second 7-year cycle. He even like says human design is on a cycle, right? So how many 7-year cycles has it been on since so it's everything's always new every 7 years. It's crazy. Yeah, so it does take time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's funny because 7, I mean, you could talk years about 7. Like every 7 years we switch cycles, which is probably, you mentioned earlier about how you had to be 50. I bet that's because it's a new 7-year cycle. 7-year cycle.
Absolutely.
But it's because it's that next, because I know when you're 50 you get that wisdom one.
Yeah, the Chiron return. That's what the 6th line is. Yeah. So there's so much. I'm so happy that you decided to invite me on. You know, StreamYard, wonderful. What a great network that we have here on StreamYard. Now that they've done the collaboration part, I think it's fascinating to connect with everybody.
Oh yeah, it is like, and they're not even charging anything extra, which is just amazing.
Yeah.
Like and I was using Google Hangouts before. It is like primitive compared to StreamYard. Like I didn't even mind it. But then StreamYard, like the video quality is better. Everything, anybody that wants to do anything, get StreamYard, because this, like everything, it's establishing, like it is really thought out. Like the chat features, the banners, like you can just throw on. Like it's like, and it's funny coming from a broadcasting standpoint, it's a joke now. We used to have huge machines where we did like the chain, and now I've just like all of my computers can just boop, like.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Do you have to get going soon? We've been going for an hour.
Yes, I kind of do.
I was sensing that. Okay.
Yeah, you are so sensitive, you projector.
Okay.
My sacral is going, I'm kind of,
No worries, no worries.
Let's just use this as a teaching moment. That is the beautiful sensitivity of, projectors. You know when it's off. You know when there's something that needs to shift. And that's your superpower. That's how you guide. That's how you guide. And when the another life example is when my first grandbaby was born. Okay, imagine me being a mom watching my daughter be a mom. Do you imagine how much angst was in my sacral? There was so much. So finally, after about 2 weeks of me doing this, she's like, "Oh my God, you have to leave now." So my projected daughter kicks me out. And I just had this moment going, "Oh shoot, that was my generative sacral just going off in the wrong direction." And she was amplifying it, and it was making her sick. Okay. So that's what happens to you guys. We need to be responsible. 70% of the planet needs to be responsible with our generative energy and have it run in satisfaction and smoothness, and do what we want. Do what we want with that sacral energy, so that the other open sacral beings on the planet can have good, pure energy. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. That's so, and that goes so much further too, because like that, like we're talking aurics, that'll just vibrate to everybody too, right? So that is perfect. I'll let you close it off here. Tell everybody where they can find you and how they can connect with you if they want to look. I would recommend definitely looking further into your work.
So Instagram is the best place. Living our design on Instagram, and then also, text 858-229-5080 is my phone number. Just text me and say, "Hey, Tah," and I'll respond. Or email, which is my name, Tah Groen, TAHGROEN at TAHGROEN.com. So that's me. All right, wonderful. It was such a pleasure, Diana, having to be invited on. And all right, namaste. Thank you, everybody, for watching.